Twitter. Twitter is like my all-time favorite thing to use. If you are not a person of many words, which I know that sounds really funny when I say that, especially because I'm an author and we're supposed to be full of words. But some of us, we don't have a lot to say. We don't want to fill a whole blog page with 500 words. Some of us can say more with less, and Twitter is a great way to do that. Um, lots of Twitters. Things that you can do. You can um, pick up quite a bit of a following. You can follow or be followed. So it's great, and you have a set amount of characters that you can use. And it's nice if you want to keep it short and sweet. I've seen authors, I mean, some of the bigger, names, the bestsellers. They tweet everything from my kid got a hangnail to guess what, my latest book is out on such a date, and everything in between. And then you have some that just use, treat Twitter as a strictly an announcement type of deal, and they'll just announce, okay, I'm going on tour, my book is out, this or that. So Twitter is very versatile, and you can do quite a bit with it. Facebook, Facebook and MySpace. Even though MySpace came first, a lot of people do Facebook. That seems to be the most happening place to be right about now. I have both because I had MySpace before I had Facebook, and then Facebook kind of came along later, and then I got Twitter and LinkedIn, and it kind of snowballed from there. But Facebook has, because it's the one I do a little bit more with, but Facebook has for authors a really cool feature where you can create a page. You can also create groups, but I'm not as familiar with the groups option as I am with the page. But you can create a fan page, and there is no limit to the number of fans that you can have on your fan page, whereas with the group pages you can only go up to, I think it's 5,000 friends. So the fan page is great because with the fan page it's strictly for your fans, and I created one once I learned how, and I've had a blast with it, and the interaction is, oh my goodness, it is absolutely wonderful. So for all of you that are watching this that are on my fan page on Facebook, thank you for all your insights, all your encouragements, for all the help, all the love. I mean, you guys have just been totally awesome, and I appreciate it. And then also the turnouts for the contests and events I do. Thank you, because you make it worthwhile. You really do, and it makes me feel really good to know that I have people out there supporting me as well. But to switch back onto the topic of social networking, as you can see, it's a great way to get your name out. And if people like you, they can suggest your fan page to others. So the word can spread from one person to another, and before you know it, you'll have a nice little following, and it's great. Another thing that I didn't mention in the beginning when I was naming off ways that authors can network and get their name out there are conferences and conventions. And I know you're looking and going, what's the difference? Well, there's a slight difference. Usually with conferences, they have a lot more workshops. They're more kind of technical and detail oriented, and they're teaching you the craft of writing. Whereas conventions, or cons as they're affectionately known, tend to be more fan oriented, more fan based, and usually they are with really specific themes. The ones I attend, of course, because I write the genre, are the science fiction, fantasy, horror, gaming, anime type of conventions here in Florida. And I just actually attended one called Oasis, which is done in Orlando. And then later in the fall, in October, is a bigger one called Necronomicon, and it's held in St. Petersburg, Florida. I should say the whole name, I guess. But cons are great, because last year I went to my first con. Never been to one in my entire life. Had heard lots of good things from my great friend Elisa Malcone, fellow author, and she would tell me, and I saw this, I did this, and then the pictures she took were just totally amazing, because people do dress up and they have masquerades and judging and cool stuff there. So I went last year, um, as as a fan, as a reader, person, and went to the panels. And panels are, they have several authors. I think the number was like four, yeah, 4 or 5, give or take, on a panel, and they talk about specific topics. And last year they had such things as like cross genre writing. They had stuff about NASA. They had stuff about anime. They had stuff about science fiction writing and feminist viewpoint writing. And I mean, wow, I could probably go on and on with the different topics. But in the panels, you have authors, and the authors are talking about these various subjects. And the really cool part was, they introduced themselves, and you had a moderator. So the moderator, kept everything flowing. But they introduced themselves. They told you a little bit about themselves. They also, got to like put their books to advertise, as they're talking, and of course their names were there. And so they talked about whatever the topic was, and then audience participation was greatly encouraged. So you could raise your hand, ask questions, and get things answered. And I learned a lot. I also got to meet Miss Patricia Briggs, who is a paranormal best-selling author. She writes more than just paranormal, but I'm more familiar with her paranormal works, the Alpha and Omega series, and she also writes the Mercy Thompson series. And she was really cool because she was really down to earth, and she was, one of the guests of honor. So hearing this best-selling author talking about, having days when she didn't feel like writing or having writer's block made me feel a little bit better about my own self, and having those kind of crazy things happen to me. And it just drove home the point that you have to have some kind of dedication and desire to want to write. And in order to get, where you want to be with your writing, you have to be committed. And it was great to meet these other writers and hear their stories, because whenever I could, I definitely was hitting up the different tables where they were all sitting and selling their books in between, during the panels. And I met some really great people. I met KL, I met Stokely, Glenda, her husband John. Quite a different vibe altogether. It was really cool. There was not just authors there. You had artists and other people that were selling things that were related to, the themes that were being talked about at the convention. So, it was a great opportunity to network, and I met a lot of people. Well, this year is different for me because this is my first year where I am going to be on the other side of the table. And just the Oasis experience in general was eye-opening. I'm a people person, as if you couldn't tell, right? And but I was really, really nervous about the Oasis convention. So, standing behind that table, trying to make eye contact and smile and be like, hi, how are you doing? And introducing myself and saying, yeah, this is this book, and this is this book, and this book this is. And still working on my delivery. I've watched some of the other authors. They've got it, of course, down to a science. And I love watching Elisa because her favorite expression when people walk up to her table is, after she introduces herself, of course, is, would you like the grand tour? And she makes it sound like it's the best thing since sliced bread, and that you really, really want to take this tour. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone turn her down, actually. But it's just her demeanor and the way she presents it. And that's another great thing for newbie authors when you go to the conventions. Watch how other authors present themselves. Watch how they get customers to the table. Watch how they get readers to the table. Watch how they engage, potential readers. And you can learn a lot from their style. And you can see what works and what doesn't work. And then, adapt it to yourself. You know yourself best. You know what will work and what won't work. Wow, that was oh my goodness, that was a lot of W's in one sentence. But anyhow, so definitely look into conventions, see which ones are near you, and go visit and meet some new people, branch out, network.